What is going on? It's Harain, and today I will be bringing to you a quick course, a very quick course. It's a very short course on how to use an API, how to use an API, right? For most people, they don't know how to use an API because they are not developers or they're just not in that field. They have no interest in it, or they don't even know what interest to take in it, right? What is the use of an API, how to use an API, why to use an API. So today we'll be covering how to connect to an API. That way it can spark your interest and your creativity in learning how to use an API and why you would use an API. The prerequisites for this course is having a platform.openai account, and you can go there very quickly by going to openai.com, hitting on their developers tab here. All right, so go to their developers page and go to the API reference section. If you don't get to the page that I just got to when you're doing that, you just need to create a platform that OpenAI account. So if you don't have that, please go ahead and do that right now, because we will be needing access to this account right here so we can generate an API key. And an API key is something that we'll be using to authenticate into OpenAI so we can then hit their endpoints, which are things that we will cover throughout this course. Okay, so this is a good quick course just to cover this. So please follow along. Go ahead and head over to OpenAI and create your account. Okay, please pause the video as you need to, just to make sure that you're where you need to be and you're staying in tune with what is going to be covered as we move along. So once you create your platform, then OpenAI account, then I want you to go over to postman.com. Okay, I want you to go to postman.com. So again, you're just going to go to postman.com, and this is the second prerequisite that we need is postman.com. Okay, when you get to postman.com, if you don't have an account, go ahead and sign up for an account, and you can select that for personal use, developer, whatever the case may be that they ask you. Just select something. It doesn't really matter what you select. Go ahead and create your account. Okay, Postman is free, and they do have the ability to upgrade if you want to upgrade for future purposes for different reasons. Right now we just need the free version. So once you get into Postman, what I want you to do is then go down, click on workspaces here, or on the left side you can click on workspaces over here as well, right? So we're going to go ahead and click on workspaces, and you want to create a new workspace. I won't create one because I already have a workspace here, but you want to go ahead and create a new workspace. Okay, once you create a new workspace, then you want to go into that workspace. Go into that workspace. All right, once you go into that workspace, we need to set up our working area. This is where we're going to be working with Postman to talk with the OpenAI's platform. Okay, so what we're going to do is move off the overview tab by hitting plus so we can have a new tab. Now we're going to move into setting up our keys so we can start accessing the OpenAI endpoint. So hopefully you're following with me at this point. Okay, so we need to access that OpenAI's API platform to get to the endpoints. All right, why are we doing that? Well, security reasons. They have a basic security for OAuth. It was not really basic, but they're not just going to allow you to just go to their platform and just you do whatever you want to do with it, right? They want to ensure that one, you are subscribed to their platform, and two, it's also not free. Okay, so once you do that right here, what I want you to do is go to the authorization tab right here, the authorization tab. I want you to click on that, and then I want you to go down to type, and I want you to click bearer token. Okay, bearer token. This is a type of token that OpenAI uses to give you access to their platform. So when we hit bearer token here, you will see that it's asking for a token, and we don't have a token. So what we need to do is go ahead and generate that token. To generate that token, we will go back to the platform, that OpenAI's website, and we will click on your name in the top right corner, and you will click on manage accounts. Okay, manage accounts. Before we generate a key, let's talk about the usage. Okay, right now it is free trial usage because they give you $18. So you have up to $18 of free trial when you're hitting their API. Right now, I have used 72 cents out of my $18. So you should, have zero out of your 18, because if this is the first time that you're hitting the API, you should have zero out of that 18. Okay. Once you verify that you have 0 out of 18, then we can move to the next step. If you do not have $18 right here, that means that, one, you either used too much already and went over the $18, which means that this course is probably not for you because you're already connected to that, or you already have a developer that's already connected to your account and doing what they need to do. If that's not the case, then you probably want to contact OpenAI and let them know, like, hey, I just created a new account and I don't have my $18 free trial usage, or you just want to create a new account. All right. Once you verify that you do have that $18 that you could use, then I want you to go to the left side here where it says user, okay, and I want you to click API keys. Okay, I want you to click API keys. So I'm going to revoke this key because I have never used that key and I don't know where that key is. So I'm going to create a new key. This is what you're going to be doing. You're going to create a new secret key. So go ahead and click on create a new secret key. Once you create a new secret key, do not click on OK. Copy that secret key. So copy that secret key, okay, and paste it somewhere on your computer for safekeepings. Paste it somewhere on your computer for safekeepings, okay? So once you do this, click on OK. Once you have pasted somewhere for safekeepings, click on OK. And then you want to head back over to your Postman account, and you want to paste that key in your token. You want to paste that key in your token. So once you paste that key in your token, now you have created authorization key to connect to OpenAI's platform. So to talk to the platform, we need to do a few more steps. The next step we need to do is go to headers. So click on headers, and in headers, we're going to be using a content type of application JSON. Okay, we're going to be using a content type of application JSON. I'm not going to go into all of these headers because there's no reason to do so. But there's user agents, there's accepts, there's accept encoding, there's connection, there's different type of headers. So you can go ahead and start looking up what are HTTP headers and what are they, why you should be using them. You can go on Google and search for that. Okay, you can even go into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT what are HTTP headers. Okay, so these are just HTTP headers that is right here. So in the headers, we're going to then you're not going to have this right here. Yours is probably hidden unless you did click on the to show it like I did earlier. But in that key value pair, their key value pair, right, you want to enter a new key. Okay, in that key value pair, you want to enter a new key. So the new key that you want to create is content dash type. Okay, so you can select that content dash type, and the value for this content type is going to be application JSON. All right, so there's different types that you could do, but the one that we'll be using today is application JSON. Okay, once you have that completed, then we're going to go into the body. We're going to go into the body, and in the body, we're going to be using that application JSON, right? We're going to be using application JSON. To do that, what we need to do is go over to raw, because we're going to actually be writing JSON code, okay? So we don't have to physically write this. We'll be copying and pasting this from the OpenAI's website, okay? Again, if I'm going too fast in the video, please feel free to pause the video and get caught up, okay? This is at your own pace, so you can slow it down to your speed to ensure that you're where you need to be, okay? Now that we have this raw selected on the body, okay, what do we need to do? Well, now we need to start talking to OpenAI's API. So to do that, we're going to go back over to the OpenAI's platform and we're going to then click on the API reference. API reference, okay? Now in the API reference, we have different things. So one, we already went to authentication and we created an OpenAI key, which was a bearer token. We already pasted that in. Okay, now it's telling us to make the request. We're gonna make the request. So to make the request, we need to do a few things, right? So we already did content type application JSON with the authorization, which is a bearer the OpenAI key that we pasted. Now it's telling us to do a model. It's telling us to do a model, okay? So this model says that it's an HTTPS API OpenAI.com version 1 chat completions, okay? So it's a chat completions. So how do we get to that? We are going to click on chat. There we go, chat, create completion, chat, create completion. So now that we have chat create completion, let's start by inputting the things that we need into our Postman. First, it says to create a chat completion, we're going to do a post to HTTPS completion. So since we're going to do a post to HTTPS completion, let's go ahead and copy HTTPS all the way to completions. This is called an endpoint, okay? Chat completions is called an endpoint. So we're going to be copying this entire URL. We're going to go back to our Postman and we're going to enter that where it says URL. So go ahead and paste that here where it says URL. Now we're going back to API reference and here it says post. It says post. So we want to then go back into Postman and we want to then change this from a get because it's telling us that we need to do a post, okay? Because we'll be posting information to OpenAI's API to get some information from their API based on what their API does, okay? So if we go back to OpenAI now, we have a post and we have our endpoint. We now need this body. We need this body. So to get this body, we're going to go back in here and it says example request. It says example request. Okay. So what we're going to do is go down to the parameters for that example request and we're going to copy that parameter. We're going to copy that parameter. We're going to take that and we're going to go back into Postman and we're going to go ahead and paste that right here. Okay. So let's break this down. There is a model and the model that we're using is GPT 3.5 Turbo. You know, at the time of this recording, this is the latest model that OpenAI has, okay? This is the latest model that OpenAI has. So if we go back over to our API reference, it says the model. The model is the one to use. So see the model endpoint compatibility table for details in which model works with chat OpenAI, right? So we want to see which one work with it. You can go and you can read on the models here, right? So you can actually get all the models by hitting this endpoint, which is a get. This is not to post information to them. This is to get information for them. So if you want to get all the models that they have, you can use the get endpoint, but we're not doing that. If you want to learn about the models, again, you can go here and you can see all the different type of models that they have. Right now, we don't have access to GPT-4 because it's in beta at the time of this recording, but we're gonna be using GPT 3.5, and you can read up about all these models and what they do, and what's the use for them. Okay, so we going to move forward with this by going back into our completions and create completions. Okay, so now that we have done this, we can go back to OpenAI platforms. Now we have talked about the model. The message, it's a role user. So you are the user, so that's your role. Okay, you're the user and that's your role. And the content, what content? You're saying hello here, or you can write whatever you want, right? I can write something like, what is 5 times 55, right? So that's my content that I want to send to them to see what they can do to complete this, right? If I send what is 5 times 55, I want you to give me the response to this. So if I go ahead and hit send, I should be able to get a request back. So first, before we go down into the JSON request that we get back, let's look at this, right? So we have a body, we have cookies. There shouldn't be any cookies here. and then we should have headers, and this headers should fill out all the headers that we have, right? So if we go back to the top, we'll see we have still have our content type of application JSON, the headers that he created for us, the OpenAI model, it has OpenAI organization, and you can learn a little bit more about the headers here. If we go back to the body, we can go over to the right side. We see we have a status OK. So if you don't have a status 200 OK, it means that you did not do something right. You did not follow the instructions. So please start over and follow the instructions step by step so you can get a 200 OK. All right, this is what we want to see, 200 OK. The time it took was 845 milliseconds to make this request to OpenAI and come back. Okay, so now let's go into the response that we got here. So the response we got here, we have an ID. So this ID is for this specific request. So if we wanted to save this into a database, we can save this ID, say, hey, this is the ID that we got back from OpenAI for this specific request. So now if I ever want to access this again, in theory, you should be able to then send this to this ID and pull this information back from OpenAI's API if they're saving these in a database somewhere. I haven't looked into that, but this is what the ID is for. It actually is an ID for this, just like maybe your social security number or your ID number at work or whatever the case may be. This is an ID for this, so it gives you everything about this. This was an object, which is a chat.completion, so it tells you what object did you use. In this case, we hit the chat completions API endpoint, so we got chat completion. Then we have the created date, which is 16791599047, which will then be converted into an actual date if you use the date converter. All right, then we have the model. The model is a model that we hit. We had that here in the model with GPT-3.5 Turbo, and basically it tells you that this hit the 3.5 Turbo 0301. We then have the usage. So the usage is prompt token. So how much tokens did I put in my prompt, right? What was a completion token? And in total, this gave us a total token of 15. A total token of 15. All right. Then it gives us the choices. The choices come back in a message, right? Now this is the server responding to us, and the server responded to us as a role as an assistant. Okay, so ChatGPT says, hey, I am an assistant, and the request that you asked for gave us a response of 275, a response of 275. So if you go to your calculator, right, or you're good at math already, so 5 times 55 equals 275. So as you may see, it did that calculation for us based on the question that we asked. So 5 times 55 was 275. Okay, so now if you want to make another request, you can just change this again, right? Where is China located, right? So where is China located, for example? So if we send that request again, it will then allow us to then get some information, right? So again, the assistant responded, China is located in the Eastern Asia. It bordered the Yellow Sea and the East China Sea and the South China Sea, as well as 14 other countries, including Russia, India, and North Korea. So again, this is how you hit an endpoint, all right? So just for fun, let's go ahead and hit another endpoint. Just for fun, let's go ahead and hit another endpoint. So what we want to do real quick is we want to go to documentation and we want to go to models, okay? And in the models that we want to look at is the 3.5 turbo model, okay? So the 3.5 turbo model allows us to do this much max token, okay? Now what we want to go ahead and do is probably scroll down a little bit, and we want to see what that model, if that model is in anywhere else. So far we realize that model is only in the chat completions. So if we want to hit another endpoint, such as the completions endpoint or the transcription endpoint or any of these other endpoints here, we realize that we are not able to use the turbo model that we used earlier. So let's go ahead and do another endpoint just to give you some practice about using different endpoints. So at this point, we're going to go back to our API reference. Okay, so click API reference page, and we're going to go down to image so we can generate an image. Okay, so in this case, it says post HTTPS OpenAI image generations. So let's go ahead and copy this endpoint. So we're going to change this from image generations. That's the new endpoint, image generations. So let's go back over here, and we're going to change this to image generations, right? So image generations. Now in the image generations documentation, it tells you that we need to get the parameters here. So let's go ahead and copy these parameters right here, and let's put these parameters in Postman. So we're going to copy this, and let's put that in our Postman body. So now we have this in our Postman body. Now in this case, we should be able to then go and see if we need to do anything else, right? So at this point, it's not telling us that we need any models. It's not telling us that we need anything of that sort. So we can just go back to here, and we can just hit send. Okay, we can hit send. But before you hit send, you don't have to send their prompt. You can make your own prompt, right? So I want, let me see, a big blue bear. I want a big blue bear. I don't know what you want to prompt, but this is what I want. I want a big blue bear. So I'm going to send this, and I'm looking back for a 40. I'm looking for a 200. However, I got a 404. So what did I do wrong here? So let's go back to API, and we see images generations. Images generations. So as you may see, I did image generations. So I am missing an S here. So make sure that when you're typing the right thing. Okay. So small things like this can cause your code to give you a 404. Also, if when you're copying, if you copy like a single quote here, you can also get a 404. So make sure that you have bracket to bracket, no quotes before, no quotes after. Also, another thing to do is when you create your API key and you're posting it in here, there's no space before, there's no space after. Okay, in your headers as well, make sure that that's very clean and everything is inputted the way that we spoke about it here. So again, we said OpenAI v1 images generations, right? So let's go back and let's make sure that we have that right. Images generations. So API openai.com v1 images generations. So API openai.com v1 images generations. So if I send this, I should get a 200 request. I should get a 200 status from this. So it's taking a while, so that means tells me that it is working. So now I'm getting a status of 200, and now we see that it gave us some data back. In this data, gave us two URLs. Okay, gave us two URLs. So let's go ahead and let's copy the URL and see if it did generate me my nice big blue bear. So I'm going to open a new tab here, and I'm going to paste this, and let's see. Oh yes, I got me a nice big blue bear. My bear has no eyes, because I can see right through my bear's eyes. So my bear has no eyes, but as you may see, this is working again. Okay, now let's go over to another one and see what they selected with the other URL that they gave me. This seems to be the exact same URL. I've never actually posted both, but maybe it's just different size. So let me just check that and see what it is. And oh, it is a different generation. So you get two different images. So this is another blue bear, and this could be like a coloring book type of blue bear, right? So again, you have successfully connected to OpenAI's platform on the API by going in and be able to request that. Now the question is, why do I need that, Hooray? Why do I need that? Well, let's say that you're building a chatbot, right? Now you have been chatting with ChatGPT, right? So for example, you've been chatting with ChatGPT. So if I go to chat.openai.com, most of you guys are going in here and you're chatting with ChatGPT, and then you got to copy your stuff and you got to paste it in your website, or you got to paste it in your documents, or you're going to paste it wherever you want to paste it. But now with the API, you can actually do this same chat completion in your own platform. So you can build a website, and that website could basically be your front end to connect to OpenAI. So not using Postman, but you could do your your website or your chat application or whatever like that to connect to OpenAI's API to get access to the power behind OpenAI's API. Okay, so again, there's so many different use cases, and I do have many more videos that be coming. So please check back with me for advanced courses that will go into more details about that. Hopefully you enjoy this video. Please take your time and go back through the video. Make sure you get a good understanding. Look at some of the terminology that I've been using. Go to Google, use OpenAI. I don't care where you go to get this information, but get this information because it's very useful and it will help you understand what you need to do to get your business going, or get your mind going, or get your creativity going, or just get you going for whatever reason that you want to get going. Hopefully y'all enjoy this video, and I will see you in the next one.